This is ABC7 News at 5:30. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. An upcoming solar amendment is under fire after a leaked audio file suggests the wording of the measure is an effort to trick voters.
The audio is a speech from a member of the James Madison Institute, a Tallahassee-based think tank, and could put Amendment 1 in hot water just weeks before the November vote. ABC7's Adam Cellini is joining us live with more on what local solar advocates are making of the tape. Adam.
Well, Scott and Haley, you may have seen signs like this one around town. It's from many solar advocates, people that install solar here locally, telling folks to vote no on Amendment 1. And now they feel they really have the ammo to strike this bill down.
This is the handgun with the fingerprints on it.
At an annual meeting for think tank organizations, staffer Sal Nuzzo with the James Madison Institute may have pulled back the curtain on Florida's upcoming solar amendment.
Remember this, solar polls very well. To the degree that we can use a little bit of political jujitsu and take what they're kind of hitting us on and use it to our benefit.
It's total confirmation of what we've been saying all along, that that the utilities have engaged, some very high-powered lobbyists to basically, pull a fast one on the people of Florida.
Bill Johnson owns Brilliant Harvest, a Sarasota solar installation company that's also with the Florida Solar Energy Industries Association.
We're concerned that a lot of people just don't realize what it is that they're voting for.
Amendment 1 was put on the ballot by Consumers for Smart Solar, a campaign with millions in funding from Florida's major utilities companies. As local green certified architect Michael Carlson explained, it would allow utilities to impose fees on homes trying to go completely solar.
Anyone that hasn't done any homework will go into the voting booth and read the amendment and say, I'm pro-solar, I would vote yes for this, and that's the exact opposite of what you should do.
Nuzzo says Consumers for Smart Solar approached his organization for research and called Amendment 1 an incredibly savvy move.
So it essentially negated exactly what the challenge was and what the Southern Alliance for Clean Energy and Tom Steyer and all of these other folks were after.
Johnson and others hope the admission pulls voters out of the dark about Florida's solar future.
The question is, can we reach enough people in time?
Now, Consumers for Smart Solar told us in a statement today that JMI does not speak for their effort, and whatever this individual is claiming or taking credit for with regard to Amendment 1 is simply not true. And JMI also told us in a statement that Mr. Nuzzo generalized his commentary and misspoke in reference to JMI partnering with Consumers for Smart Solar in any capacity. We will put the full audio file on our website, mysuncoast.com, linked to this story. For now, live in Sarasota, I'm Adam Cellini. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Adam. A federal judge has rejected a request from the Florida Democratic Party to change some voting rules before the general election. U.S. District Judge Mark Walker denied the emergency motion today at a hearing in Tallahassee. Democrats were concerned that some new voters would not have their registration applications processed before early voting starts on Monday. This means some citizens may be forced to vote provisional ballots, which require greater scrutiny from elections officials. In his ruling, Walker said there is no evidence to suggest the state is intentionally processing the applications slowly. An attorney for the Florida Democratic Party is disappointed with the ruling.
When you vote a provisional ballot, it's not counted unless the canvassing board approves the ballot.
Judge Walker pushed back the voter registration deadline last week because of Hurricane Matthew, leaving a fairly short time between the end of voter registration and the beginning of early voting.
One day after the final presidential debate, Donald Trump is back on the campaign trail, and he's continuing to raise concerns about the integrity of the election. ABC7's Alan Cohn joins us with more on Trump's stance.
Donald Trump has proclaimed himself the winner, although a CNN ORC poll gives the edge to Hillary Clinton. The headline coming out of the debate, Trump continuing to say he may not acknowledge the results of the election unless he wins. Experts say it was Trump's strongest debate performance to date. That was until the issue of the election came up, despite the fact his vice presidential nominee, his campaign manager, and even his daughter saying he will respect the results of the election in 19 days. Trump says not so fast.
One of the prides of this country is the peaceful transition of power, and that no matter how hard fought a campaign is, that at the end of the campaign, that the loser concedes to the winner. Are you saying you're not prepared now to commit to that principle?
What I'm saying is that I will tell you at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
That is not the way our democracy works. We've been around for 240 years. We've had free and fair elections. We've accepted the outcomes when we may not have liked them.
Tonight on ABC7 at 7, we'll bring you the highlights of the final presidential debate, along with analysis from our panel of experts. Back to you.
Thank you, Alan. President Obama in Florida today, stumping for his party's presidential nominee. The president and U.S. Representative Debbie Wasserman Schultz landed in Miami this afternoon. The president then traveled to Miami-Dade College's Wolfson campus, where he gave a speech regarding health care. The president promoted his health overhaul by saying that never in U.S. history has the uninsured rate been lower than it is today. The president is pushing more young adults to enroll in insurance plans. Later in the day, President Obama appeared at a campaign event for Hillary Clinton at Florida Memorial University.
All right, time to get another check on our weather. Nice day on the Sun Coast. I mean, we had our higher temperatures, but it doesn't feel that hot. Here's Bob with more.
Yeah, it's all about timing, too, in terms of tropical systems during this time of year. You know, you have to count on and rely on fronts to keep things away from the state of Florida. And this is an area of low pressure we were watching just yesterday. It had an 80% chance developing into a tropical low, and now that has been downgraded to a 50% chance, so that's a good sign. There's definitely circulation here, a broad area of low pressure, nothing too tight at this point, and it looks like it is drifting off to the west, but the front is approaching from the northwest, and you can see it right there quite clearly slicing through Louisiana all the way up into northern sections of Alabama tonight. For us, some light rain down to our south. We're not anticipating any showers here. The evening planner looks like this, generally fair skies, 75 by 11 o'clock. And notice the winds, not as strong today out of the northeast, but they will pick up over the weekend. They're out of the northeast, but then notice right there near the coast, more of a west-northwesterly direction, and that's a direct result of the sea breeze that is developing. And when the east winds let up a little bit, that sea breeze has a chance to get going. You can see it out of the northwest here into Inglewood, Rotunda, but still out of the northeast in Port Charlotte and Northport. More on your weather forecast in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Thank you, Bob. A horrifying morning in Kentucky. An SUV slams into 3 children, leaving 2 fighting for their lives. It happened while the children were waiting at the bus stop, and authorities say the bus had its flashers on. ABC's Elizabeth Herr is in New York with the details.
4 patients, 1 child unresponsive.
With first responders rushing to the scene,
Code 3, we got a child stuck under the car.
Good Samaritans jumped into action.
I'm going to tell you, she was in bad shape.
Helping to rescue the young girl trapped underneath the SUV.
Got some guys to come over, and we raised the car up, and this police pulled him out and pulled the little girl out.
That girl and another child taken to the hospital in critical condition. In all, 4 people hurt. It happened Thursday morning in Louisville, Kentucky, when police say the bus made a sudden stop and the driver of the SUV, trying to avoid the bus, veered right, hitting 3 children waiting for the bus. Police say the bus had its flashers on in this case, but watch. These close calls from recent years, cars nearly missing children, even though the buses activated those flashing stop signs. Well, this has some safety experts sounding the alarm, reminding drivers to slow down.
I think folks, particularly that time of day in the morning, are trying to get somewhere and just aren't paying the sort of attention they should.
Well, as for this incident, we're told no children were on the bus at the time. And while the investigation is continuing, police say so far the driver of the SUV is facing charges of driving without insurance and registration. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
An update now on the boating accident that claimed the life of Miami Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez. The families of the 2 other men who died in the crash have hired an attorney to handle their sons' estates. An attorney is representing the families of 27-year-old Emilio Macias and 25-year-old Eduardo Eddie Rivero. They died on September 25th when Fernandez's boat slammed into a jetty. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is still investigating the crash. Fernandez was National League Rookie of the Year in 2013 and a two-time All-Star pitcher. Still to come in your Suncoast News, Floridians are no strangers to the heat, but how hot is too hot?
And what about when you're dealing with hot water? We'll take a look at what you need to do to make sure your child stays safe.
The agents at SWC would like to show you pictures of all the homes that they've sold quickly for their clients. But they're just too many to show. Contact SWC today and find out for yourself. We just market your home better.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Sometimes, when the course is difficult and you might take a step where you could fall, it's important to trust and ask for help. That's one of the most important things we learned at Tidewell's Teen Grief Retreat. On your grief journey, there are going to be difficult parts, but you have to trust in yourself and your support systems and know there are people around who will help you make it through. Tidewell Hospice. It's more than you think.
Types of timber, cuts of meat, cooking times, temperatures, rubs, seasonings, sauces. You name it, they know it. That's what makes them who they are, Sonny's Pitmasters. And proud of it. Come get some baby back ribs at Sonny's Barbecue. On their own or paired with favorites like jalapeno cheddar hot links or pulled or sliced pork plus 2 sides and bread. Sonny's Barbecue. Local Pitmasters since '68.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
If you have a suspicion for harboring prostate cancer, we have a way of diagnosing by using an exquisite instrument called 3-dimensional color flow power Doppler ultrasound. Using this system, we can identify abnormalities within the prostate that you could otherwise never detect. The Dottoli Cancer Center is the only center in the southeastern United States which has this technology. If you have prostate cancer, we will find it.
Bella siccome un angelo in terra per
Sarasota Opera presents Donizetti's Don Pasquale. 6 performances from October 28th through November 13th. Reserve your tickets at sarasotaopera.org.
A hot beverage, a candle, even hot water from the shower can pose a hazard for little ones. ABC7's Alex Redmond has important information that can help protect your child from burns.
This little redhead is Isla, and Isla knows all too well the hazards of touching something too hot because it can burn little tiny hands just like these.
I touched the stove and it went all, and I touched the stove on my hand and it went all over. Then it was dripping.
Isla was lucky.
And I had water, and Dad put water all over me.
Initially, make sure that if it's a burn caused by something that's still hot, remove the clothing, remove the source of heat. Then put cool water on it. Don't use ice, don't use an ice pack because you can get hypothermia and a frostbite.
Pediatrician Dr. Robert Weiss says children are impulsive and can acquire skills as young as 18 months that can endanger them.
Particularly in areas where the water heaters have not been lowered, which happens all too frequently. You have children that can turn on the hot water.
It doesn't take long depending upon the temperature of the water, says Dr. Weiss.
So at 120 degrees, if a child falls into that water, they're going to get a burn in a relatively short period of time.
Toddlers love the kitchen, explains Dr. Weiss, and if parents are distracted, accidents can happen.
And they pull down on that washcloth, which is on the stove, it opens up, or they're broiling and the stove is partly opened, or even just touching the door of a very hot oven can cause a burn fairly quickly. In fact, 160 degrees or higher, burn is almost instantaneous.
Educator and grandmother Julie Rohr McHugh recalls a burn accident involving her husband's beverage and her 10-month-old son.
He went right across the table and grabbed his coffee cup and spilled it on his chest and burned his chest very badly. By the time I pulled his shirt off, the skin went with it.
Resulting in a trip to the ER, but no scars, says Rohr McHugh. And there are hazards you may not consider.
Any of the new coolers that have the hot water buttons should not be around children.
Once you've stabilized the situation, if it appears to be a large area of exposure, it's good to call your pediatrician. And if there are blisters formed, if their child has facial burns, go to the emergency room.
Reporting in Sarasota, Alex Redmond and Isla, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
Thank you, Alex. Now let's head over to Bob and take a look at our forecast.
Well, we have some big changes headed our way. Things are looking a lot better. Cold front late Friday and then a cool weekend ahead. Finally, we deserve one of those after a very long summer and a tough boating weekend. Unfortunately, the winds and seas are going to pick up after the front moves through, and they'll be out of the northwest, so they will be moving in through the bay. That northeast wind has kept things kind of calm right near the coastline. You can see that quite clearly from the Casey Key webcam review, showing the seas running less than 2 feet, really, and a light chop out there, and for the most part, lots of sunshine as well. Showers, again, a little bit moisture, more moisture down to our south, kind of wrapping around an area of low pressure near the Bahamas, but nothing going on here. Currently at the airport, it's 84. We have sunshine, and the dew point is at 68. Humidity comfortable. Winds out of the northwest at 13 right near the coast anyway. Inland area is still getting that northeasterly wind as the sea breeze hasn't kicked in there. High temperature today above average as it has been all week long. At least we weren't in the 90s as we have been over the past 3 days, and 84 the normal high, 91 the record set in 2003. Zip on the rainfall, and we're not going to get much rain from this cold front. Typically when fronts do come down, we do get a pretty good line of showers and storms developing, but just because there's so much dry air out ahead of it, we're not going to see much. 84 now in Key West and 82 into Orlando. Temperatures in the 80s, and the Gulf of Mexico still at 80 degrees. Punta Gorda 87 and 83 now in Lake Placid. Forecast tomorrow, one more day of the above average temperatures. We're expecting highs into the mid to upper 80s under sunshine and plenty of it. There could be an increase in cloud. There will be an increase in cloudiness, I think, late tomorrow, and that is a result of the front, and there's a slight chance for a few very brief showers. As far as the tropical satellite imagery goes, you can see quite clearly a rotation here in a counterclockwise swirl. Nothing quite organized yet, and the National Hurricane Center now dropping their chances of this becoming something tropical to 50%, which is still pretty high, but the 80% chance they had yesterday has been eaten into as a result of the fact that it's taking its time developing, and the timing of this front, the increased shear that will be taking place, there's less of a chance for this to get going, it looks like, in time. So we'll watch it nonetheless as it eventually moves off toward the north and then toward the northeast. As far as the satellite imagery goes, you can see these big storms firing up there across the plain states, and then deep convection mainly to the east of the center, which appears to be right here. So clearly not a tropical system at all, extratropical or subtropical, if you will, and then it moves off to the north and northeast, and eventually it could cause some impact to extreme northeast United States and into Canada. 87-degree water temperature right there just off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, just to the south of the Isle of Youth in Cuba there. 89-degree water temperature, and this front may make it all the way down there and cool things off, but it's unlikely it's going to chill things out too much. So this will still be the breeding ground, the main breeding ground for the remaining of this remaining part of the season, which ends at November 30th. The forecast calls for cooler air to move in, and that will stay with us as high pressure moves in. Skies will clear too, so look for lots of sunshine over the weekend, and with temperatures staying below average. Temperatures now starting to get more to average in Buffalo and Chicago into the low to mid 50s there, and cooler as well in Boise at 62, 61 in Wichita, and finally things cooling down in Oklahoma City at 70. Yesterday Dallas was at 90 and 85 now in Atlanta, 80 in Jacksonville. For boaters, one more day of rather calm seas, and then it'll pick up throughout the day on Saturday. Low tide upcoming, and then a high tide will be at 3:35. The forecast tonight, mostly fair, 69 mild, and northeast winds 5 to 10. And then for tomorrow, look for another sunny day. Cold front late, increasing clouds late, 87 for your high, and that's a few degrees above average. The extended forecast does call for windy weather on Saturday, a little less on Sunday, but still slightly below average all the way through Tuesday of next week. Back to you.
Thank you, Bob. Now to Suncoast Traffic Watch. Traffic is backed up on I-75 in the northbound lanes from Bee Ridge Road north to Fruitville.
Tesla is announcing a game changer. The car company says all new Teslas will have full self-driving hardware. That includes the much anticipated Model 3. Tesla says the self-driving features in the new cars will be substantially safer than having a human driver. The cars have ultrasonic sensors to detect objects near and around the car at a further distance than what the human eye can actually see. It will also be able to see clearly through fog and heavy rain. MetLife is dumping Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and other members of the Peanuts gang from its ads. The insurance giant says it will replace the beloved Charles Schultz characters with a so-called clean, modern aesthetic. So you'll no longer see the giant blimp featuring Snoopy in his World War I pilot gear. Instead, MetLife says it will just have an M in blue and green colors as its logo. The green apparently represents life renewal and energy.
I'd rather have Snoopy, but
Snoopy
okay.
won.
Yeah. Starting next week, there will be a new place you can renew your driver's license in Manatee County. This new office on 301 West in Bradenton will open on Monday. It will handle driver's licenses only, plus ID cards and hunting and fishing licenses. Construction on this building has taken about 2 years to complete.
Your entertainment news is coming up next.
You only have one life. Are you gambling with it? 1 in 3 adults have high blood pressure. Not knowing your numbers could cause you to lose, big time. Luckily, you can turn the odds in your favor by getting your blood pressure checked today. Don't leave your health to chance. Learn more at heart.org/HPB.
Just because someone grows older, does that mean they have to grow apart from their friends or from the things they love to do? With Right at Home, it doesn't. Right at Home's professional team thoughtfully selects caregivers to help with personal care, housekeeping, meals, and most of all, staying engaged in life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you ready to go?
Oh, I sure am.
We can provide the right care right at home.
The celebration is heating up, and the prices just keep getting better during the Jeep Celebration event going on now at Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota. Come shop the area's largest selection of new Jeep Wranglers, or check out this stylish new Jeep Renegade starting at just $16,999. Stop by today and drive away in a brand new Jeep Patriot for just $14,999. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beauty Rest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Whether you're a homeowner looking for a professional installation or a contractor looking for top quality products, Sarasota Glass and Mirror can meet your every need.
For 42 years, Sarasota Glass and Mirror has been the area's premier supplier and installer of quality glass products for your home or business. As an authorized PGT WindGuard dealer, we know how to protect your home with everything from the PGT WindGuard impact-resistant windows and doors to shower enclosures and decorative mirrors. The Sarasota Glass and Mirror team has the knowledge to tackle any project.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
The trial for a man charged with stalking model and reality TV star Kendall Jenner is wrapping up.
A Los Angeles prosecutor is asking jurors to convict Siobhan McKenzie of misdemeanor stalking and trespassing. He was arrested outside of Jenner's home in August. Jenner testified last week that McKenzie followed her car into the driveway of her home and then refused to leave. The 25-year-old could face up to 6 months in jail if convicted of either charge.
Personal belongings of the late fashion icon Betsy Bloomingdale will be auctioned in New York. Betsy was married to the late Alfred Bloomingdale, heir to the New York department store fortune. She died in July at the age of 93. Christie's auction house announced today that her jewelry, including Harry Winston pieces, will be offered on December 7th. Bloomingdale's house and furnishings will also be auctioned off in the spring.
A Willy Wonka reboot is in the works. Warner Brothers has acquired the rights to Willy Wonka and is planning a new movie centered around the eccentric character. It will be a standalone movie focused on Wonka and his early adventures. If the prequel is a hit, characters like Charlie could be seen in future installments of a possible franchise. No word yet on who will play Wonka. The original Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder, died in August.
Internet sensation Ken Bone is making quite a lot of TV appearances. You'll recall that Bone became a star after making a brief appearance and asking a question at the second presidential debate. He's now being featured in internet memes, and he's working as a correspondent at last night's presidential debate for Jimmy Kimmel Live. Although Bone has attended 2 of the 3 debates, he's still unsure who he's voting for on November 8th.
Last week, you told me you were going to decide who you would support after this debate. Have you decided who you will support in this election?
Well, Jimmy, I think you should probably listen to the internet. I'm not trustworthy. I have not decided. And after I have decided, I promise I'm not going to tell anyone, even you, even though I love you.
And it looks like Bone is going to stay in the spotlight for a little while longer. He's partnering with clothing company Izod to help promote that famous red sweater. It's like Chewbacca Mom ended. We talked about her the other day, so now it's Ken Bone.
And
but he's a little more interesting.
Yes.
I mean, nothing against Chewbacca Mom, but he has, he's pretty funny and yeah.
Hey, he's cashing in while he can, and now
Why
he's got
not?
a
You
sweater
might
on.
as well.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? And we need something lighthearted in this election season.
Yes, we
so,
do.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back with more news. Stay with us.
Gold fever has once again swept the nation. And everyone is rushing to Florida to strike it doubly rich. Introducing the $5 million Gold Rush Doubler. We're doubling cash prizes for over $752 million in payouts. And 36 prizes from $1 million to $5 million. The Florida Gold Rush is on. The Florida Lottery, just imagine.
Christmas Traditions by Lux Art Silks, where more is merrier. Make your holidays sparkle with style. Browse our amazing showroom, cute collectible cottages, and beautiful Christmas displays. Find the inspiration, selection, and quality you need to deck the halls merry and bright. Christmas Traditions also features the area's largest selection of quality pre-lit Christmas trees, every size, shape, and color, and plenty of decorations to make your home shine for the holidays. Christmas Traditions by Lux